Well, good afternoon, friends. To the sunroom. I even made it a little bit neater in here, hopefully, with the curtains closed so I don't get light reflections off the house. The windows, the sun reflecting off them. Fools the camera a little bit. Anyway, yes, it's good to be back with you. And yes, I'm feeling a bit better. I must admit I've had a procedure that turned me from yellow back to normal and got me feeling a lot better, and more things to come. In that medical realm, okay, I'm on an emergency waiting list for an MRI since the 14th of September, so you know how it goes. And I know people say that Canada has the best medical system in the world. Do you mind if I say I'm not sure anyone does? With every system there's the disadvantages. But anyway, we're moving along. My GP doctor, general practitioner, my new doctor, I had my first full medical with her last week, and we made a few changes on things in my care, and as a result, feeling a lot better. Being teased a lot. My taste has changed with that bile duct being plugged and then opened up, and that. I have always loved orange juice. Now I can't get enough orange juice. And yes, since spring when my diabetes blood sugar went high, I'm drinking between a gallon and a gallon and a half liquids a day, which is for me unthinkable. Enjoying fresh fruit more than ever. That's great for us too. Good vitamin C and all those other healthy vitamins for us, so that's been great. So I appreciate your praying for me, and Rose, of course. Yes, it's hard on her, never knowing. Anyway, I spoke last time. I was going to share my French presses. Now, since then, and I've been downsizing because from my house, remember I said a full house and full garage into another full house and full garage, something's got to go. Well, my glass French press that to me took, I was guessing close to 24 to 26 ounces. A friend said, "I'd love to have that, Ted." Great. Put it in your car and take it with you when you go. So, that's fine. On my last trip, I was really paranoid about breaking that French press. And when we stopped at, I think it was Dryden, Ontario, on the east side. Anyway, there's a bakery and roastery, and it's not very big in the front. Like, it may be, I'm going to say 30 feet across the front of the building. But it's deep. And yes, they are baking the most scrumptious quiche we had there. And the baked dainties, you know, the stuff that every guy wished his wife made all the time so he could get fat. Yeah. Their coffee, it was phenomenal too, but it was not made in a drip machine or in a Mr. Bun machine. Sorry, the bun machine I'm thinking of that we would normally see in a restaurant or whatever. Anyway, so I'll show you what they used. When you ordered a cup of coffee, they asked what type of blend you wanted, what type of roast you wanted, what on and on. There had to have been over 30 choices of coffee beans. And what they did was, one of these, and if I can get the lid just to pop off nice and neat, yes, a French press. They poured the bean, they would weigh the beans into the grinder, this underneath the grinder so the beans are coming down, set it on the counter, poured in the boiling water, and I see if I can bring this up, as you can possibly see. Yes, you can see well that lip. That's where I measured the coffee to, and that's where you could sit the. This thing will actually sit right there. Okay, a little bit of weight, extra weight on it makes it go down, but if this was seated here, it would stay up. Okay? Anyway, I loved it. When they poured the coffee in, stirred it, hit the timer for a 4-minute timer, and you waited. They did the old, put the top on, spout, of course, so you can pour, pushed it down. This is thermal. Yeah. That what got me too, was like, it's not hot on the outside. Well, they had them sitting on the shelf on display, so you could buy them, with a great big label all the way around it, giving all its attributes and where it was made and all that. And it said it was a 20 ounce. Anyway, I had to have one. My brother uses a metal French press when he goes hiking in Alberta, British Columbia mountains, doing summits on the air for amateur radio. So I know they're good. So, anyway, I bought one. And, yeah, like, you can't go much wrong with it. The rest of my trip, I made this thing full. I'd taken coffee beans with me for the glass one, and I put it delicately aside, and we use this one. A full 20 ounces, okay, to that, where it did that little kink in the thickness, where the top where the two plies were actually bonded together. 20 ounces. Well, gee, isn't that just about right when most of our coffee mugs are 10, 11, 12 ounce? So, works perfectly. Stands up well. Love it. So I had no qualms at all about passing on. Anyway, the glass was gone. Remember this little guy? I took him on the trail. I'm going to look at the name. Espro. E-S-P-R-O. Yes, designed in Canada, made in China. And unscrew it, and off it comes. The difference is, you take the basket part off, and there's a different one, and you can make tea. Now this is strictly all filtering here. And inside, and I'm positively, let's see if I can get up. You know how it goes with me and trying to see what I'm doing, right? Anyway, I did have it down in here. Right down, way down, there's the bottom line, it says coffee. Top line above it, 3/16 of an inch, or sorry, 5/16 of an inch, says maximum tea. Used it when I was out in the woodlot, and I haven't been, this year's not been a good year for that. More fire bans and all that stuff, and they don't want people in the woodlots at all. But it worked well. And at 12 ounces, that's a good cup of joe. Now, the lid comes off. It's got a seal. Okay, you can see the sealing ring right there. Okay, so it seals. Internally, I think I can show it to you better this way. Yes. Okay, so you can see there's 4 slits there. And so you can drink out of it. You know, you make your coffee, you've pressed it down, right? Now you can drink. And when you put the lid on to seal it, see, it's also a thermos. I love them both. We're going to stick with them. I don't plan on parting with either one of them. But I want to let you know, there you go. You can get a good stainless steel French press to take with you. And the advantage, of course, is the thermos part. You know, you just keep it warm. Now, what we found with the large one was, every morning I made coffee. I would pour Rose a cup and fix it for her the way she likes it, give it to her, and do other things. We were staying at my friend's place, and it might be an hour before I got back to getting my coffee. Still very warm. Not as hot as hers was, but very warm. It was great for me. So there you go. I'm sold on a thermal French press. To me, they work great, and I'm sold on them. Anyway, so that's it for the presses. We're continuing slowly. I'm getting through downsizing things. Some knives from my collection in the garage. I have my shelf that I used to have in my other house. Several of the knives from the knives that I showed you some 2-3 years ago are going today. My granddaughters are picking them up and taking them down to her father, brothers, and I'm reducing the number of items I have, keeping the ones for nostalgia's sake, like my wife bought me. 1974, she bought me a Puma two-bladed pocket knife, and I call it a gentleman's knife because it's quite thin. It's very nice. In 1975, she bought me a Puma Trail Guide belt knife. Both have had extensive use, and okay, one day they'll go in my estate, or I'll pass them off when I decide I have no further use whatsoever for them. So, knives, I'm reducing, I think, 3 or 4 of my different kinds of knives, and that's the plan. Keep less, enjoy what I have more. And I suspect it could happen with my stoves as well. I passed off a IKEA hobo stove I made, and I had modified it so it stood up about 1 inch and you had an airspace underneath, and it really burned well. Gave that to my buddy, and that's the one I used to use down in Arizona for a campfire. That little hobo stove campfire. You know, 8 or 10 inches in diameter, a foot tall. Hey, you can get a big enough campfire in that. So I am slowly moving that stuff, and it's not because of my health. It's because we just don't have room to put. Like, we've got things still in boxes in the garage that I want to clean out. Fishing gear. I've talked to my sister-in-law out in Alberta. She's the only one in the family that fly fishes, and I've got fly fishing gear and the equipment to tie your flies and lures and all that stuff. Some of it's going her way, I have no doubt. One fishing rod I made myself. I made that fly rod, and I want it to go to a family member. And I have moved on some family heirloom things to my children as well. It's just a case of we don't have room. Rose has gotten rid of a number of heirloom things from her family as well. So we have a tidier, less messy looking where you can know where things are and you can find them. So we're doing great with that. And of course the door opened and you can hear the dryer going. Hi. You want me?
I want you all the time.
Okay, that you heard her. She said she wants me all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna shut the door, okay?
Be right there, sweetie. Hey, and that's a loving wife. I'll tell you, you know, I didn't think it could ever get as good or better than it was with Sheila, my first wife. Love of my youth, right? I was only 19, 20 when we met. 51 years. Glorious years. Well, Rose and I definitely won't have that many years, but we're going to have the best years of our lives that we can make for each other and for ourselves. That's what we're working on. But she recognizes that I have hobbies. I suspect she didn't know where I disappeared to, and therefore silence in the house. What's Ted up to now? Wood carving still going. I'm still working on a house of cottonwood bark. It's nearing completion. Checking out fishing gear, selecting which rods and reels I'm going to keep. And I had duplications. My motorhome had 2. It got doubled up because I went and forgot them and left them here at home. Went down south and I couldn't go fishing, so I bought more fishing rods, right? So I'm getting rid of surpluses. And I'm sure any of you guys who have merged homes, you'll recognize that. It's either that or you get a rental unit to put stuff in and then forget you got it there. And I don't want to do that. So, we're going to continue on. We'll be waiting to hear from the medical center. I have to go in for more tests. And we'll get a real lowdown, a complete lowdown of just how things are. And we'll keep on doing our things here. And that's the way it should be. For your interest, I did pick up yesterday a 1/2 inch thick, 6 inch long ferrocerium rod, the big heavy duty one, at the Army Surplus store in Winnipeg. Plus a couple of Happy Yak meals. Meal for 2. And we're going to be testing them soon. Rose and I will both give you our opinions of them. As a lady, she has a different taste than I do. She likes garlic and onions and I can't eat them. So there you go. So you can look forward to that. Young fellows, coming Wednesday, we're going to be moving my amateur radio antenna from the back of the house to the front of the house. The houses are on an angle a bit, these lots. And right now, that antenna is blocked for communicating with Winnipeg, which is 55 kilometers away, about line of sight. So we want to get that fixed up. I've been working on software for doing my amateur radio, and I have no doubt once I gain some experience and knowledge and get things working well, we'll try and cover some of that too. So hopefully we can get off the lazy part, whatever. I didn't know why I was feeling so down. And we will proceed, see what we can do to give you some good viewing. I must admit, in the sunroom here, I can still hear the neighbor's machine kicked in, and the compressor. Can't do anything about that. When the trucks are really going on the highway, even back 300 meters away from the highway, where I go in the woodlot, it's still echoing through there. And that's frustrating. I tried to use my app software to blank that out, but it only works to some extent. So we'll keep on working, see what we can do. And for now, I'm going to wish you all God's best. You take good care. Take care of each other. Be safe when you're out there. Be safe when you're using your sawmill. And you guys with sawmills, I'm jealous, but that's okay. I still have my table saw and hand saws, so I'm okay. But you know what I mean? Whatever you're doing, your activities, whether it's hiking, driving, whatever, be safe and enjoy this. I'm going to call it, my mother used to call it Indian summer. The leaves are turning, but all it takes is a bad windstorm and they'll be on the ground. So it's coming out of that season. Meanwhile, we're going to enjoy it all the best that we can. So from now until next time, God bless you each one. And thank you for your prayers. Ted's clear.